Red Bull's numerous upgrades gave them, in Verstappen's case, a newfound pace for the Austrian outfit at their home Grand Prix, letting Max be on the fight for a race win against both Mercedes drivers. First of all, let's take a look at the race results. We can find how George Russell won the race, followed by Max Verstappen in second place, Kimi Antonelli in third, Oscar Piastri in fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Isaac Hadjar 6th, Lando Norris 7th, Charles Leclerc 8th, Liam Lawson 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Arvid Lindblad. Now, thanks to the visualizers on GP Tempo, we can take a look into the first stint of the race in a comparison between Verstappen, Russell and Antonelli. On the first stint, we can see how both Verstappen and Russell are quite equal on pace, but that takes a shift when in lap 18 Verstappen pits, going for an undercut, causing Russell to pit on the following lap, whereas Antonelli goes long until lap 24, where he narrowly misses a virtual safety car period that would have probably handed him the race. On the second stint, we can see how Russell's gap slowly tears away as both Antonelli and Verstappen are quicker than him. So, to avoid getting undercut and stop the tear, Russell pits on lap 43. Verstappen extends a bit and goes long until lap 49, betting on the tyre advantage towards the end of the race, and once again Antonelli goes the longest until lap 51, narrowly missing on a VSC period again that in this case would have definitely granted the Italian a win. The last stint then goes as expected. Russell bleeds time again towards both Verstappen and Antonelli, but at a small enough rate that Verstappen cannot close the gap entirely, granting Russell the race win. In fact, Verstappen ends up closer to losing P2 to Antonelli than to winning the race against Russell. The key lap that explains the race win, in my opinion, is lap 47, as it is the lap in which Russell gains more advantage towards both Verstappen and Antonelli. We can see how George Russell does a 1:10.9, Verstappen does a 1:12.6, and Antonelli does a 1:11.7. When we analyze the track map of that lap, we can see how Russell mainly gains time on points in which tyre is more important, so cornering and corner entry. Antonelli gains time on acceleration on most cases, and Verstappen, having the most powerful engine, the Red Bull powertrains, just gains time on straights, because as we're going to see now, the Red Bull powertrains engine is the engine that clips the less on straights, therefore granting Verstappen a higher end top speed than both Mercedes cars. These three graphs are going to help me visualize what I'm saying, as well as showing you the different styles or approaches in which Max takes the lap around Austria when compared to both Mercedes drivers. We can see that in terms of top speed, they're quite similar, but Verstappen always hits his top speed later into the straight than both Mercedes drivers. Why is this? Well, it's quite simple. His Red Bull powertrains engine derates less than both Mercedes engines, granting him a high top speed for a longer period of time, and mainly Verstappen just brakes much later than both Mercedes, losing a lot of time on corner exit, as we can see on the delta graph. When approaching a corner, mainly a high braking one, he gains time on both Antonelli and Russell, but then loses it all back again when accelerating. Finally, if we see this driver action graph, we can see how the Red Bull engine has much less derating than the Mercedes one, both in zones in which both engines derate, such as corners 2 to 3, but mainly we can see that it derates less when approaching corner 4, as Red Bull powertrains does not derate at all. We can see that all the time lost by Max Verstappen in this lap 47 is not due to an engine deficit, in fact quite the opposite. It's in cornering and corner exit where he loses the advantage to Russell on mechanical grip, that mechanical grip that is provided by the newfound hard tyres that Russell had against Verstappen's old ones. This is my analysis of the Austrian Grand Prix. I hope you liked it, and I will continue to do this from now on for the rest of the season when I can. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching the video if you have, and bye bye.